Tesla's not allowing you in this hill.
Man.
What's up, you beautiful people? It's time for more Call of Duty here at the CCL. We're down into the penultimate week of league play, and we're ready for more shenanigans. My name is Infinity. Joining me on the casting desk, as always, is my beautiful co-host, my beautiful co-caster, Andy, mate. You're looking as luxurious as ever.
Well, thanks so much, Brody. It always means so much hearing it, especially coming from you, man. But, I mean, here we are yet again for another week of CCL action. Things, as you were saying, we're getting down to the wire. We have a immediate focus just on the Midwest region as a whole today. Things could be shaking up pretty nicely, or, I guess, dramatically awkward for some of these teams at the end of this week.
Yeah, I was going to go in and call this like the Midwest Mania region is what I was going to call this week, because that's kind of where we're at right now. But let's talk about kind of what teams look like right now across the board. You know, what are the regions, what does everyone have at the moment? The top 25 here in the CCL. Obviously, things kind of change over the course of time, but right now, at the very top, you've kind of got the usual suspects, as it were, the undefeated teams, Northwood Esports, Oklahoma Christian, I'm going to keep on doing it, I'm sorry folks, Fisher Esports, UONA Dragons, which of course the University of North America, and Mars Hill Esports all currently sit undefeated at the very top of our community, top 25.
It's just continuously interesting when you take a look at some of the top 25, again, community power rankings as they do sit, how people do gauge some of these teams, and the strengths over top of one another. You know, even the Ottawa Braves 3-4 comparatively to Akron Zips 15-16. Akron Zips have a much more winning record in the division that they are playing, but when you stack them up against one another, there's some discrepancies that obviously do lie, even some previous placings, but there's some, obviously, going to be some arguments about from 2, maybe all the way to 5, but it's hard to argue that Northwood Esports are the best team in the CCL right now. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see kind of when some of these teams actually do face each other later down the line, when we get talking about kind of playoffs, which actually isn't that far away, right? So there's definitely going to be interesting conversations here about kind of where those teams actually do sit, you know, come those playoffs periods. For sure, really looking forward to that one. But Andy, mate, of course, we've got some awesome games coming up today. Of course, we're kicking things off with the Ottawa Braves and Michigan Esports. You can see that right above us. But before we get there, I think it's probably a good idea to talk about some of the sponsorships we've got here for the CCL. Namely, shout out to the America's Navy. As always, of course, if you guys didn't know, the Navy offers more than 60 career fields in leading edge areas such as nuclear engineering, special warfare, cryptology, information systems, and healthcare. There are also enlisted career paths in fields that are not widely associated with the Navy, including music, journalism, culinary arts, marketing, law enforcement, and yes, you folks sitting there watching right now, even esports. So shout out to America's Navy and of course Fandom as well for sponsoring CCL for this season. We've got some matches to talk about, buddy. We've got Ottawa Braves versus Michigan Esports. That's coming up next.
Yeah, the Braves going up against the Wolverines, U of M looking to continue on with their winning ways. The Braves, on the other hand, this is a roster that when you think about it on paper, they shouldn't necessarily be 3-4. Some of their losses that they faced along the way were against some of those top teams, but nonetheless, they're looking for the bounce back to end their group stage with a bang of a couple wins.
Yeah, let's talk about them then. Let's show out the roster of Ottawa Braves right now. As we said, the number 15th seed as it currently stands, currently with a record of 3-4. Again, some names that you guys probably should know this deep into the season: E2N, Lightning, Stu, and Token. This roster at the moment, I think, are kind of struggling to get the wheels turning somewhat with their current record, especially considering the success that they had last year in the CCL, getting 3rd overall, Andy.
Well, I mean, 3rd overall as far as the college is concerned. Lightning only subbed into 1 match. I think maybe even just a single map as far as finals is concerned in Columbus, Ohio. Obviously, very different from the same roster in Ottawa that we had as far as Cold War finals are concerned, because we had that in-house when it was Ottawa Gold versus Ottawa Black. But nonetheless, still boasting a very strong roster. I believe E2N and Lightning were both at the Texas Open this past weekend for Major 3. And they were obviously trying to hold out their own versus some of the top squads that we had. Lightning's always a name that kind of comes in and out of everybody's mouth, that he kind of goes along with the hands of, with like Druxy, for example, that this kid is absolutely gross, can carry any single map that he's on.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing the Ottawa roster this season so far. Obviously, you do have those kind of usual suspects, as it were, in E2N and Lightning, which have been thoroughly impressive. Obviously, you and I got to see them a little bit over towards the Texas Open as well, and they somewhat impressed us there. But also, you know, again, you kind of had those other guys on the roster, Stu and Token, kind of what they're able to do on that team. I've really enjoyed seeing the Ottawa Braves. But on the flip side, we've got the Michigan Esports roster again. This is another team that have had some success in the past, and they've actually had a little bit more success this season. Blame, Assassin, Burke, and Memory. Right now, I mean, look, this roster, again, kind of in that same position that Ottawa Braves are in. They're currently sitting mid-table overall, vying for kind of one of those buy spots in the bracket. Yeah, so we're going to look at this Michigan Esports roster. As we said, Blame, Assassin, Merc, and Memory. These guys have impressed us so far, and kind of looking ahead at their overall kind of schedule moving forward. Really, they've got the vast majority of their hard matches out of the way. The hardest match they've got remaining, of course, and we say there's 3 more matches left for really all the teams across the CCL, is the SIUE team. So this Ottawa Braves match, I think, is going to be just so crucial for Michigan to really get the wheels turning and really get themselves sorted out. So we'll see how Michigan Esports does get on here versus Ottawa Braves, but the roster itself, as we said, this is looking pretty good. They've been looking good so far this season, just trying to secure that move forward in towards one of those buy spots inside the top 8. But here's a look at the season records. As we said, things looking pretty even across the board here, Randy. 3-4 for Ottawa Braves, 4-3 for Michigan.
I mean, all the focus has to be as far as the search and destroy is concerned for Michigan, right? I mean, the Wolverines can almost guarantee themselves a search and destroy, especially with how things have unfolded for Ottawa Braves against some of the teams like SIUE, the Wichita State Esports roster as well, and even Northwood. It's interesting, to say the least, that they were unable to at least keep some of those search and destroys in the W column, but you can steal a hard point away. Maybe you can close this in 4. The control is obviously going to be Ottawa Braves, you would feel like, especially with these stats on the screen, Brody. Yeah,
it's kind of weird in a way, isn't it? Because this feels like a very open and shut case. I know, obviously, there's only so many hard points, search and destroys, and control we actually have on screen here, but it feels like the weaknesses and the strengths of each of these 2 rosters seem very clear-cut, right? Ottawa Braves, not really expecting them to win the search and destroy given their record. And of course, you look over towards Michigan Esports, what they've been capable of. Search and destroy should be in the bag for them. The worry for Michigan here, despite having the better record overall, is that hard point and control. Hasn't been looking as hot as they would like, and especially when you look at the other side, they might well be in danger for this best of 5. Speaking of which, let's talk about the map set that we have ahead of us here for this first match of the day. We're going to be kicking things off on a Fortress hardpoint. We've got a double Elasilo in the middle of our big boy sandwich, and then if required, an Embassy hardpoint and a Fortress search and destroy to close out. A relatively varied series, Andy. We do love this.
Yeah, I mean, love to see a little bit of flexibility when it comes down to as far as a map set is concerned. Lots of 2-2 action across the board. Obviously, when it comes down to Fortress, depending on the side you can spawn in on, you can see AAAR. Same can be said about LSD control. But, I mean, as far as micro is concerned, I think that everything's out the windows. These are map mode combinations for both these teams that have not necessarily been favorable for them. I mean, you have the Fortress hardpoint loss versus St. Clair in here for Michigan. They lost that 204 to 250. For Ottawa on the other side, they also lost this 224 to 250 versus SIUE, so take that as you will. But these maps along the way are obviously could be tandemed along with the hard vetoes that come along with these collegiate teams, but who am I to judge? I'm just excited to be able to see how these 2 teams do stack up against each other on the nuttiness that is inevitably Fortress hardpoint.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We do love our Fortress hardpoints, don't they? And teams have gotten a lot better at it, as we said, especially when we watch over towards like the Challenger side. I think teams are getting a lot better at breaking certain hills, which I think at the very beginning of the season, people were a little bit kind of tough with, if you will, especially that P3 hard. P3 is like the big one. If we go back to like the start of the season, it was a guaranteed full 60 seconds, whichever team rotated there first, just because of kind of how annoying it was. I think at the very beginning of the season, likened it to like P2 on Hackney Yard, which now I think about it, Andy, bit of an overreaction, because now I think teams have gotten a lot better at breaking that hard point, and now it's kind of much more dicey, much more kind of split handshakey, if you will, on that hill. As I said, I think teams have gotten a lot better at playing Fortress hardpoint over the course of the season so far. And really, I mean, we're only halfway through the season overall. We've still got, what, like 3 or 4 months left before people go play something else. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time to see kind of what the rest of the revolutions look like for the season.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we might end up getting into the summer when all the throwbacks start happening. We end up having to relive through Hackney Yard P2. Honestly, that would be just hilarious, going from Modern Warfare 2 back to Modern Warfare 2019. Honestly, I'd be here for it. Watch some Speedball 2v2 CTF. Always a good time. I believe that was actually like a map mode combination we did for CCL All-Stars that year. Shout out Justin Pistachio. Loves rubbing that in everybody's face. But yeah, man, I feel like you just got to have it if you are some of these teams, especially when you are boasting across a top even 20 between these 2 teams, for Ottawa Braves being number 15, Michigan Esports being number 14 as far as top 25 power rankings are concerned. You should be able to prove that you are the difference maker in between being either a top 10 or even a top 5 team going forward, because we are getting down to the wire. Group stage is starting to come to a bitter end, and for some of these teams, the competition is just beginning, honestly.
Yeah, this is like the point of the season, isn't it? As we said, we're in the penultimate week of rank play now. Or that's rank play, league play. I always interchange those terms. We're in the penultimate week of league play now, right? So it's kind of like you now need to win the remaining matches. As I said, the vast majority of your tough matches for these two teams have already taken place. I think it's St. Clair is the hardest match we have left for the Ottawa Braves, and then SIUE, which is always a mouthful to say for me, is the other team. Michigan Esports still have to play. That's going to be a tough cookie to crack. So those are really kind of like the roads ahead for these two teams. I think they should be fine. But I mean, when we look at kind of the overall standings again, they're both kind of like teetering on the edge of getting one of those bye spots out of Division 1 in towards the bracket play. So that's going to be interesting to kind of see. But I think the best thing to do right now, while we wait for the match to get underway, is we should go take a look at the after action report as it currently stands, go over kind of what's happened recently in the CCL. If you guys haven't been around... Alrighty, folks, it didn't take long for our first CCL match of the day to get underway here. The Ottawa Braves taking on Michigan Esports. We said we're going to a Fortress Hardpoint and we don't break promises here.
Did we promise it? I mean, well, I don't promise things. I guarantee them, Brody.
Okay.
I'm not Santa Claus.
All right.
Favorite side of the map, Michigan Esports. Ottawa Braves, I mean, they're pretty slow to try to roll out, and that honestly allows Michigan Esports just to be able to set themselves up inside the power position, but it starts to feel a little bit like a different game mode S&D is all about here inside of Red. Stu's aware that great play off of his life is starting to force Michigan back already.
Yeah, this is really important for the Ottawa Braves to have somebody push forward in towards munitions building. That player, as you say, Andy, is going to be Stu. He's waiting patiently, ready to try, or rather, somebody from his teammate to come and help him out. That would be Token from down low, and unfortunately he does get shut down. So Stu now needs to do a lot more by his lonesome. Unfortunately, will not be able to produce alongside Merc. So a lot of players at the moment from the Ottawa Braves going down, but a couple more kills going their way at the moment. It will give them a shot at rotation. Gotta be careful though, because around the backline is a player like Assassin, and they're really well positioned. Unfortunately for him though, is overwhelmed in the 1 versus 2. Lord Memory chucks out a Semtex at the wrong time, but does actually end up picking that gunfight. Now Michigan got to fight this from the front.
Look at that spawn out that just occurred. Lightning's actually going to be able to hit this all the way through Broken. That works out nicely because he can find Stu from the back stairs. Lightning should chow a very weak Merc, and that should all but stabilize, but it's still a lot of time here on P2. Michigan going to take one good crack at this once again. Assassin finds an avenue. He's going to be pinching from behind. Nobody's watching the flank. Nobody was inside of Art for Ottawa Braves, so Assassin finds a free 2. Michigan contends once again. Yeah,
you just don't expect those spawns to go flip-flop like that, do you? Sometimes it just does shock you, and on that particular situation for Ottawa Braves, they just don't expect it. But that's not the worst thing in the world at the moment. With 15 seconds left now, their best serve moving over towards P3, and now our thesis will be tested. How well can teams hold over towards P3? Stu at the moment trying to hold that left side door. Will pick up the double. Now looking for number 3, Merc right in front of him, and he absolutely murks him. 3 in a row for Stu. The first hold is good.
I mean, if Stu wasn't going to find all 3 through gate, Lightning actually spawned over here by the open arches as well. So he's cutting down players, or at least trying to. Not easy to hit those shots, I promise you. So Merc with the AR will take Lightning down. The hit, again, is mostly coming through the front. You see the Wolverines, I mean, they're splitting their affairs both through the main gate and also through the double doors. And through hesitation, they will fall one by one. Still a lot of time to soak here at P3 for Ottawa.
Yeah, you give this one more hit if you're Michigan. I wouldn't invest much more into it. Just make sure you move up towards munitions when you know you really need to. And that first hit doesn't go well for Lord Memory. Second one from Blaine, and Assassin will. So the team shots are good for 1 kill. You get any more though. Backline support coming through from Ottawa Braves, and Blaine manages to fly through, picks up the first kill versus Lightning, but Blaine just has so much to do here. Somehow manages to sneak past Snoo. Oh my god, stealth level 100. Fortunately for Ottawa Braves, E2M will pick up that final kill. So the scrap time and the vast majority of that kill will go their way. For Michigan, though, it's okay. You move up towards munitions.
Setup is really forward. I mean, Blaine needs to be careful over here just because the spawn outs can occur. Yeah, you see Stu actually spawns over by P2. He's going to effectively be able to pinch things out. So there's a lot of faith that you can hold this position if you are Blaine. Stu contests. The hard point is able to find one. One is good enough because it allows the rest of the Braves to flood all the way through front art and break this hard point with still 40 seconds to spare. Their lead will grow.
Yeah, big break within 25 for Ottawa Braves. Now E2N on 4 in a row has already accrued that cruise missile from earlier. Spree at 9 and 4 is having a hell of a start towards this game. He doesn't really need to do anything at the moment. He's just sitting inside, twiddling his thumbs, waiting for his teammates to take out players in and around the hard point. Finally, one will come his way, but the call is through from Lightning. He'll very easily be able to pick up Lord Memory. Ottawa Braves in a great position now for the rest of this hard point. They're They've gathered themselves about a 60 to 70 point advantage if they accrue the rest of the scrap time. The Michigan Esports, and this next rotation needs to be big.
Yeah, and that's why you're seeing them take a keen focus as far as spacing is concerned through the middle of the map. I mean, it's just something that Michigan would love to have for themselves just ahead of this P5 hardpoint. The only player that's not really counted for Ottawa is player number 1. That's Blame, who's still all the way over by the stage. Wasn't really in a position to assist his teammates, if not be able to find those trades. But he goes unnoticed, comes out through the closed archway, finds 3. That opens up the hardpoint for Michigan to once again touch the time. They need to generate all of this 30 seconds into their bank to really salvage this first set, Brody.
4 in a row. Flames already having a stellar start to this hard point. Now wants to have more. 5 in a row now. 1 more and he gets the cruise missile, or he should do, as long as he's not running a score streak. Lightning in front of him. Will not. There's a score streak effect for him. So now looking for 1 more. Actually, he's going to get it just by jumping on the hill. So that's why score streaks count sometimes. Be helpful. 6 in a row and the hard point capture will net the score streak or the cruise missile for Flame now. Stu tries to fly in for the scrap time. Still a bit of valuable time there, but actually Michigan do take about, what, 20 seconds away from Ottawa Braves as Merc snaps for 2. Lord Memory now over towards the new hardpoint, actually doing quite a lot to pressure Ottawa Braves away. And hold on for a second here, folks. Ottawa Braves look like they might have caught the rotation, but Michigan Esports with combined 2 to 3 kills in a row, going to push them away.
I don't know what kind of digital gust of wind just came through towards the end of the first set of hard points for Michigan Esports, but they have turned up in a massive way. I mean, Blame, like you were talking about, was able to get that streak. He goes on a massive 6. Stu, feeling the pressure that he has to call his cruise missile in, that he earned all the way at the beginning of this game, Brody. And, I mean, if you're the Braves, find nothing. You only find death. Blame finds 2. Lord Memory's now on a 3 spree as well. Mark has turned up there at the tail end of the first set as well. Now up to 18 and 12. Michigan Esports, they're taking the lead.
Hey, I'll tell you what, about 60 seconds or so, I was really concerned about Michigan Esports because they were down by about 70 points. They'd already lost control of a hill that they should have got control of off the back of a rotation, but no. Now I'm absolutely happy with where Michigan Esports are sat. Assassin trying to provide some coverage for the next hard point. Gotta be careful though, because one player, E2N, is trying to sneak their way on by. Has exactly done that, but Assassin just flies out, rips their head off. Will basically secure the rotation with 1 more good hold. All the Braves trying to make their way through munitions, but you just can't get through Blame and Merc. The coverage is so good for Michigan at the moment.
And look at Merc rectifying one of the biggest issues that Michigan Esports had and why they faltered so quickly on P2. It's all about the streets control. Just playing in and around cannons. This head glitch over towards top dubsteps is a nasty one. And he's got a Vaznev to help things out inside of Art. Just wonderfully executed coming through from Michigan from this P2. Ooh. Comparatively to what they look like on the first set, as Lord Memory, again, has found himself a different gear to push. Finds himself up on a few in a row. Will go down inevitably. Michigan trying to do what feels almost impossible on Fortress, turning scrap into initial from 2 to 3. Ottawa Braves looking to just chalk up the back 20 here on P2 and set themselves up for a potential full 60 at 3.
What has this been over the last few hard points? About 120 points or so in favor of basically fully of Michigan Esports, where Ottawa Braves have felt stagnant. This hill is so integral for the rest of this game. Ottawa have to hold on. They already really don't have the numbers. Ooh. Lightning, though, trying to line them up. Gets the benefit of a team kill. Gets a double himself, but on the other side has a little bit of pressure to deal with. Assassin has managed to fly his way through. Now trying to hold. I believe this is a cruise missile coming down from Blame. They're going to get rid of the trophy system, and it will land on towards Lightning. They need a follow-up, and well, Merc would have been that guy, but unfortunately he does get taken down. So the investment is there for Michigan Esports to break, and while they almost do, well, they're able to hold on for the moment. 1 more wave now. They should secure the entirety of this time, and these guys, they're just lining up in the middle of the archway. Lightning gets a double, E2N gets the 3rd, and now this hill time should go to Ottawa Braves. You've got a tied game there enough.
And just about a tied game at the end of this 10 seconds. You're not wrong, Brody. Oh, Lord. He's feeling himself now, Brody. Almost flies out to find a 3rd. Sue will finally put him to rest, but 188 to 196. This break is actually setting itself up pretty quickly. Blame's going to have a lot to do across this cannon side. The fight can start to manifest, come across the street side, so Blame needs to hit it. He finds 2. He also knows Ethan is afoot. Gets the better of token over by P1. Ottawa Braves are going to spawn further out.
This guy, Blame, is pacing. He's taking everybody down in this line of sight. Now for more for Lord Memory as well. The way in which these players, I mean, all 4 really have stepped up is incredible. Lord Memory now for yet another double, looking for more. He knows exactly where to look as well. Token, the next player on his hit list. He's getting bullied around the backline. Oh my god. The kills being made around the hardpoint at the moment. The coverage from Michigan Esports is sublime. And Blame, he's doing it with the fast nef. He's doing it with a knife. Michigan Esports are tearing them a new one. What on earth is going on? Blame trying to close this game out. Just a few more seconds, and that is exactly what will happen finally. A 1v1 goes Ottawa's way inside the kill, but it feels like it might be too little too late.
I mean, it might be. Ottawa Braves, they have to soak up all the time here on P5, keep Michigan away. 2 seconds are all Michigan need. Lightning finds Stu. The hits coming through maps. Tokens holding his irons here. It's a big 1v1. He finds it. Now the hits mostly, again, coming from a pinch effect side. Ottawa are finding all of the kills, Brody. And again, if they soak up all this time, not only do they scathe away by Michigan not winning this game, but they themselves can also win.
Yeah, Michigan need to make sure they have a backstop on the next rotation here. I mean, yeah, a few more kills, getting the hard point, they'll be fine, but just be careful.
They got it.
There you go. They get the kills required. Blame for a 2-piece at the end. I'm not surprised, mate. Blame was absolutely piecing towards the end. So that with a capital P. Goodness gracious, but I mean, the start of that game, Ottawa Braves, they look like they might just run away with it, but I don't know what happened. These guys, Michigan, they found themselves like a 6th or 7th gear off the back of just so many insane plays in the middle.
It's just, again, wild to think, right? Because when we were going into P5 with the first set of hardpoints, it was like 130, 120 to like 60. And then when we exit P2, it was like 144 to like 160. Like, there's just, it's weird to say that Michigan just had a bad first 4 hardpoints because everything else afterwards was just so flawless. And again, it's thanks to players like Blame, who was just taking the chances, risking every little bit of information he was finding, challenging every single angle, finding these opportunities for Michigan just to generate so much time in sequence of one another.
He was just running around like that last. I don't know what this spree was towards the end for Blame. I think it might have been like an 8 or a 9 spree, perhaps more than that. But he was just running around like he literally just didn't care. It really felt like, and I made this, joke earlier on, unintentionally so, it felt like he was playing rank play, not league play, to be honest with you. The way that he was running around, just off the knowledge of where these guys are spawning, and just without a care of the whole, like, yeah, there's 3 players in the middle of the map. They're going to be my kills. Like, it just, the absolute confidence. And the thing is as well, to have confidence like that, almost seemingly out of nowhere, is insane to me. Because again, like, you have to remember the context here, Andy. Ottawa Braves, off the first 3 hardpoints, felt like they were in full control of the game.
Yeah, again, the highlights will say all of that. Michigan tried their best to throw another break over towards P2 and over by P3, but Ottawa just would not relent. They were winning every single gunfight. Here's the end of the first set, 132 to 93. And then watch when this game just flips itself on its head. I mean, the streak usage, the cruise missiles that we saw, the 2 of them, not the best streak usage, but it was Michigan's gunny that turned over a new leaf. Look, this is at the end of P2, going in towards P3. 191 to 150, where at the end it was like 130 to 90. I mean, Ottawa, they had full swing of momentum through the first set of hardpoints, and Michigan just found some sort of dent in their armor, if you will, Brody, because Blame, Merc, Lord Memory, they just all went completely AWOL.
This streak here from Blame is honestly disgusting. Like, to chow that! You drew 1 HP. 1 HP, bro. What are you doing? I mean, it works, clearly, but goodness me. Blame, 32 and 21, I think, was the KD there towards the end. That is an insane performance from him, especially considering just, again, how they started, how slow Michigan were out the gate. That is a massive victory for them. Here's a look at those final stat lines, you folks at home. I mean, like, I would say for Merc and Lord Memory, that's not that impressive, but, like, I think when you consider kind of how they started, for them 2, for Blame as well, even for Assassin, like all 4 of them, their KDs would look a lot worse if you look just at kind of like the first, 4 or 5 hardpoints.
Yeah, because I mean, Lightning, Stu was already in the back line as well. It's just how quickly Michigan turned over the Ottawa not finding consistency as far as their slaying is concerned through the first 3 hardpoints. And it really does feel like that for Fortress Hardpoint in particular, you can get away with so much more, just catching players off guard while you're in possession of the hill and really take advantage and exploit all of these different flanks. If Ottawa was doing it early, playing Merc, Lord Memory, they were exploiting it throughout the entirety of the map after the first 4 hardpoints itself. I mean, just insane stat lines across the board, as now Ottawa have to hit the full-on regain, a map mode combination that at the end of the first set I was ready to chalk up that Ottawa have a 1-0 lead. Now they got to be able to get it done on the LOC Search and Destroy.
Yeah, this is a big map. I think just generally speaking, you talk about kind of that map number 1 in the best of 5. We discussed kind of where we thought this series was going to go, and we thought at least that Ottawa Braves had the better chance on the hard point. The Search and Destroy is where they would lose them. For me, Michigan taking that map changes the entire dynamic of this series, because now we go into an LSU search and destroy. We talk kind of overall records here for a second. We got a chance to look at them earlier on. And Michigan Esports, they're a team that's currently sitting at 5-2 in search and destroy. It is by far and away their best game mode. They've only lost 2 S&Ds. So going into this, I mean, they must be feeling pretty confident.
I mean, but one of those losses, Brody, you have to remember for Michigan, on this map mode combination, they lost to Northwood 3-6. I know it's Northwood, but it could honestly be an omen, potentially, an exploit, if you will. We know how LSU search and destroy play. Your SMGs can become little devious monsters throughout the inner workings of this map. You can see in the fly-through, just around the A-bomb site, around kegs, find timings with dead silence, get behind enemy lines, top kitchen, top money if you're on offensive, defensive like. That could be something that Lightning and Stu can take advantage of. We saw it in the Fortress Hardpoint. They gotta have it here.
Alrighty, gotta have a bounce back from Ottawa Braves, and gotta really have a bounce back, generally speaking, in Search and Destroy, because it's not been the skippiest of game modes for them. Let's see how they get on here as we get in towards the offensive side for Ottawa Braves to kick things off. As it currently stands here, Andy, not a lot of pressure around the middle of the map to be worried about. Their real concern is coming around the back, and it's coming pretty fast.
I wonder what Merc's loadout actually is. Is he doing this with an AR instead of just holding top tower? Yeah, he's got attack 56, but he is running dead silence. He's about to get the freest kill. I mean, how would you ever expect, if you're Ethan, that Merc is going to be all the way back here, and you're losing players inside the side as well? Just weird opening is working out for Michigan.
Dude, if I'm him in that situation, if I go up against Merc there in the back line, I'm like, how? I'm literally screaming in the mic, like, you know, you've played with me in rank play? I'd be like, what on earth is that? Why is there a player there? It's such a weird and audacious play off the start, and it's a good reaction, I think, to just not having any utility, not having the trophy systems, not having the dead silence to start with. Just do something kind of out of pocket in the first round, and you'd be feeling a lot better for yourself. That's exactly what they just did.
Oh yeah, round one in Search and Destroy is all about risk, right? I mean, if I'm not getting chowed going up the mountain from a player on defense, I'm not going to hold tower either. I mean, that's just a brilliant play. To either just hold the exits from billiards or just push all the way through. Why not? Big first round for Michigan. Blame finds 2 within that round. Looking for a fast execute potentially over towards the A-bomb.
And there are players inside for Ottawa Braves, so this is a pretty good start for them. They need to make sure they hold. It's just one actually Lightning for the first blood. Oh, that's unfortunate. Posthumous nade from Lord Memory will take them down. And now it's information gained from Michigan Esports, especially as Stu goes down. This is not good for Ottawa Braves here. You've got to kind of sandwich these players in.
Hogan could potentially be the playmaker. The biggest issue, it's all the way in the bottom right side of the screen. It's got a trophy, no dead silence. Going to be a player that's going to catch him off guard. It's going to be Merc. I mean, he is hitting this super late. Bomb's going to get planted. Everybody's isolated from their teammates.
Yeah, Token's not got dead silence. Going to get found out anyway. Maybe heard. Not too sure exactly in that situation. He was basically walking around. E2N does have dead silence. Did utilize it to get to this position, but he is done so. And yeah, Michigan Esports, one of those situations. You get the first blood to get in the bomb site, and the last 2 players really aren't actually in any position to do anything of note.
No, I mean, it's just awkward, again, that you have these lurking players all the way on the outskirts from the plays if you are U of M. And it's just a very hard read at the end of the day if you are Ottawa when you are trying to retake any position on LSU. It's mostly from the inside. I mean, Ethan was mostly just relying on clear all of billiards and maybe try to pinch this, look up top, so that way Ethan can work his way inside the side and clear it. It's just such a standardized play, but Michigan are just putting their players in the most aloof areas and catching Ottawa off guard.
Julia for sure. Michigan Esports making Ottawa feel uncomfortable at the moment. This round, though, things going well for Ottawa until Blame just comes and does exactly that, mate. I mean, he's done it with a knife. He's done it with a Vaznev in this series so far. Might as well get the pistol and show us what he's capable of. Pretty serious.
Assassin's looking to make moves. Pops that sounds. He works all the way across the fences. You heard Token break a window. Oh, this is a big kill. Now you know these players are trapped inside. It's just Lightning, and he's got nowhere to go. He tries to chase at least one player, but man, this Michigan team are truly living up to their mascots. They are just berating Ottawa Braves. They're not letting them breathe. Actual Wolverines just fully sprinting at them. Assassin makes the play through the fence line, gets up top, gets the player in the clutch position down low. That works out wonderfully for Blame, who cuts things off on the opposite side. Just these guys are undeniable when they just pick up speed.
Something's got to change for Ottawa Braves right about now. Like, just pull some weird, janky strap out of, like, just pull your strap book out the closet, dust it off, get yourselves ready for round number 4. Do something different, because at the moment, they're just being caught off guard every single turn. Michigan have got something new for them. Vast majority of that coming from Blame and Assassin, especially in that last round. Assassin, well, he assassinated. Did his job. 3-0 now for Michigan Esports. We'll see what they're up to on the offense. Last time around, Ottawa met them in the middle of the map, and the First Bloods went the way of Michigan. Now they're looking to do the exact same thing again. Assassin now being approached here on the right side by Lightning, and Lightning actually gets the jump shot off to him, bouncing around, takes him down. And now Michigan will feel a little bit more uncomfortable as they try to get this bomb down.
Blame is clearing a lot of space. He's already inside the bomb site itself. He's got a player potentially down low. That's E2N inside of tools. No, he's top kitchen window, so Blame's looking to clear a lot. He's got dead silence elsewhere. Lightning gets scouted out. Lord Memory's the last alive, and again, he is isolated away from Blame, who sees Token late. Token looking to snake his way to victory in the gunfight. Can't find it, but Blame's dead silence doesn't get reset off the kill. Now he's the only player left alive here in this 1v2.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. This situation would have been vastly different if he did actually get that kill just a microsecond earlier. But no, now making a ton of noise here. He's going to get taken down. Oh, no! Oh, I'm so sorry. That was super preemptive. He survives, and there isn't an immediate trade because Stu has to reposition or even get in a position to be competitive. But Blame then takes a little bit too much time to retrieve the bomb, and, well, Ottawa Braves finally find a round.
And the way that they open this round up, if you are Ottawa, you open it up with Lightning being that aggressor, Lightning being the initiator coming through the fence line. The only way that you deal with an aggressive team is by either sending a player to find these isolated 1v1s, get first blood, and pinch the enemy team first, or you utilize your stuns late. Ottawa are looking to take the former rather than the latter as far as how to deal with Michigan Esports just running at them. If they can consistently do it, it'll be able to win more rounds, but that's the first of many that needs to come through.
Indeed it is. Good start from Ottawa. Now Michigan. How do they respond? Blame pushed all the way forward here, wants to get aggressive and try and break the spirit of Ottawa, but not going to get an opportunity just yet. Lightning pushing back towards the bar area. Now Blame has been tagged up just a little bit. 2 HP being chipped away, and E2N is on the hunt. He's feeling it. There's one. They're back all the way around now. Dead Silence has been activated. This is a very fast reposition, and Assassin reads it perfectly.
Stu's looking to pick up where E2N previously left off. You see the bomb is dropped in a precarious spot. The further Stu pushes away, the more and more isolated Token becomes. So much to watch. The flank can come through. Player number 7 is Mark. He can push all the way through. Stu's going to play in this isolated position. Expect maybe some of the come out through top kitchen, but Ottawa's running out of time, and Stu's going to make a lot of noise. Yeah, comes down to Token 1v3.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing the right thing in this situation, trying to get the bomb down, but he hears somebody right in front of him, and he is just done so. Yeah, again, same kind of situation here. Michigan Esports back to their old nonsense where they just get hyper-aggressive right off the start. And it was a good read, I think, from the flank. I think there was a flank play. I can't remember which play it was. Assassin read it perfectly. As soon as that happens, I think you're kind of acing the hole. It's already out the round.
Well, it just also comes down to how Ottawa opened up the round as well, right? I mean, if you're E2N, you pop that silence, you find that kill up top, but he continues to push all the way through without really any means to an end. I mean, if you're expecting just to clear all of top barbecue by yourself and maybe open up the rotation over towards B after forcing a 3v3 and not expect another player to be up top, I mean, that is just aggression within its own self and not without a whole lot of cause to the benefit of the offensive team. Michigan are constantly just running around together. They find this first blood on the Merc once again. Kind of back off, actually. They don't just fly into the A site. Probably got a lot more information because Ottawa Braves are all around this building.
It has definitely slowed up Michigan for sure. And they know that somebody's inside the A site as well. So this is the kind of the next problem. So probably aware of somebody inside the kegs. They know there's just a lot of mid-map pressure from Ottawa regardless of where it's currently situated. Stu takes some early shots. Lets them know that, hey, this is our area. Don't even try it. Michigan have to find a way to crack this. Nope.
20 shots. Dive through. Oh, it's awkward. It's finally first blood. That's bomb dropped. And I don't think Lightning's aware of this, but now Michigan are starting to play with their time clock. That silence pop for Assassin doesn't want the immediate one. And the hesitation doesn't work out this time around. Some respect has been earned, I would say, off of that play, Brody, as Ottawa find first blood. They all just anchor, whether it's inside of kegs, the fence line, got a player up top. It's a standard defense, but it works out. The stuns, nades, and everything else in between, team shots included, finally deal with the aggression earlier on. And you saw Michigan had no idea what to do soon after. They just had to brute force their way for a couple gunfights, but Ottawa hold their irons. They'll find themselves their second round.
that feels like the first time, even with the earlier round victory for Ottawa Braves, where Michigan have actually felt unsettled. They didn't really know what to do in the 3 versus 4 situation because Ottawa would have got the entirety of the map locked down. Now in this round, Ottawa want to have another round like it. Fortunately, things just not going their way at all. Already, players picked up around the back line. Lightning forced to get aggressive with the bomb as all the players falling around him. And, well, activates dead silence right into a gunfight. Hip fire, not the best at that range.
I mean, it almost was, though. Actually interested to see this final kill. The Blame's got the pistol.
Oh.
Yeah, he was literally one shot. He almost found that kill. That would have been nuts, but... I mean, what was an attempt of an aggressive push over towards the field to potentially get inside a B just goes awry so quickly as Michigan open up with a standardized defense themselves. Blame, even with the boomstick, is holding a longer line of sight. Ottawa get first-blooded, but Lightning did not relent. He just pushed all the way inside of Tools and lost his teammates along the way. So Michigan find themselves up on map point here, Brody. And for an offense, why not? Don't fix it, ain't broke. Get some of that building control. Have Merc watch the flank.
Assassin's already been tagged up, though. Got to be wary of the fact that somebody is on that flank, and there it is, Lightning doing it again. Stu is actually going to pick up the first blood, but regardless, Lightning is part of this play. He's done it with the dead silence, but finally goes down. That's unfortunate, as they do get the read on through. Ottawa, though, I mean, they're still not exactly out of pot in the situation. I mean, Stu is still from behind, but will get taken down, and would you believe it? Lightning goes down, Stu goes down. Now it's E2N's time to shine.
Token is isolated. He's going to be up top. They're in admin. The bomb needs to get recovered and also planted. It allows E2N to reposition himself. Flame to the dead silence. Smokes E2N to the gunfight. 1 HP. Token's not there for the chow. He's late. Blame's gonna get the regen. He gets the bomb and gets away with his life. Dead silence is starting to dissipate.
He's still making the push, though. Real gamble hit, and that's a lot of noise with that drop down. Not too sure if Token would have heard it from that range. Rather slow. Blame plays for a cross for a moment here, but time quickly dwindling down in this round, and again swings that door wide open. Token hasn't heard it, so the bomb will plant. Now there should be a fast reaction here from Token. Got to be careful though, because you're not a dead silence player in this situation, so you're basically just going to have to crouch around if you don't want to give away your entire positioning. Blame has just heard him. Now the free fire from Blame. The duel is on, and Token will come out on top. Ottawa, they will survive off Token's heroics 2 HP in a dream.
That is sweat off your brow if I've ever seen it for Ottawa to at least stay alive in this search and destroy. You'll see how close this one truly is. I mean, both players getting sound Q. Even in a post-plant situation, you feel like you need to be the one to spring first, especially with your weaponry that was at hand. Nonetheless, just holding the irons, any sound Q is going to be a good one. Token steps up in a big way. Could have gone completely awry if you ask me, giving so many players isolated 1v1s and opportunities for Michigan, even when they have numbers, to find their immediate trades of what was a very slow offense. But Ottawa, got to go back towards this very aggressive hit. They are 4 players strong coming across this outer alley.
It's a good effort from Ottawa Braves, but when you don't have the coverage from a player inside green or you up top, things aren't going so well, but maybe they are now. Stu and E2N going to trade things out actually in their favor. So now a 2 versus 3 from a 3 versus 4. Michigan Esports not in such a good spot anymore. Trades galore once again. Now Blame having to push all the way through. Again, not a dead silence player here in this situation is Blame. So just needs to try and crouch around and get what information he can. Might be able to catch Token off guard depending on his positioning, but actually no, he's on the other side of that wall.
He's on the other side, and the bomb's going to get planted as well. E2N held his irons, looking towards that back barbecue alleyway. I mean, maybe he heard a sound cue, but the bomb's going to get planted regardless. Blame again. Maybe able to pick up a Vaznev off the ground, but you can't pick up a different field upgrade. Token to the corner. He's going to get the first couple shots. Almost gets turned on, but overshoots it and overcorrects it. Ottawa Braves answer back with 2 rounds of their own, and the aggression is starting to work out. I mean, if it's frustration for Ottawa, it's fine. You utilize that. Just you want to make sure that at least you come out on the trades on top of Michigan before that they find themselves in a better position to be able to overwhelm their map and sway numbers. The reason why I say that is because when you have Michigan in that regard, you can see, again, they generally don't know what to do when they're down in numbers because they know that they can just run at you and play the trade game. But if Ottawa can continue on with this pace, we very much so might see a round 11 here, Brody.
That's where the vast majority of success has come from this roster, just keeping up the pace, getting aggressive. Once again, feels like that is the case here for Ottawa Braves. 2 players sitting inside 8. They've made the right gambit. Now they need to deliver. Lord Memory with a stun in. will tag at least one, but do they know the second is in position as well? Stu gets the first few shots in. Now Lightning needs to go huge as his teammate. His compadre is already down. That's one down. Stu looking for the double. Unfortunately, does get taken down. Now a 2 versus 2. Making a 2 versus 1 as E2N will double up. An assassin now finds himself in a 1 versus 2. The bomb is isolated in the middle.
See, Token is completely apart from this. Assassin already threw a couple shots. He does have Dead Silence to utilize. That bomb is dropped in a precarious spot. Ethan, he goes back up top, and Assassin smokes him with the gunfight. Still one shot. Token, still holding his iron towards field, has not moved. Assassin's Dead Silence about halfway run out. He has no idea where Token's located at. He has not moved, but he will have enough time here, buddy, to recover the bomb and at least plant it.
Yeah, it's all about timing here in this situation, isn't it? What does Assassin choose to do? Token should run straight into him. They've just seen each other, though. Through the fence. No AA there, buddy. The duel will last a little bit longer. Nade will force Token out to the left side, but Token's stun is sublime. And Ottawa somehow, some way, with 3 rounds in a row, send us to a round 11.
Absolutely absurd scenes. Again, it's the ability just to continue to play aggressive. I mean, Lightning even having the better centering and irons from the player that slow crossed over to at least allow Ottawa to bring themselves back into 3v3. It's really Ethan that made the heads-up play. E2N was holding towards top bricks, top kitchen area, when those 2 players from Michigan came swinging on in and found Lightning straight immediately. If Ethan doesn't find that trade, and that bomb can get planted relatively for free, the retake with 2 ARs becomes that much more of a treacherous. Round 11. It's Ottawa up on offense. They lastly have been hitting mostly aggressive through the B field. Assassin's more aware of it, yet finds Lightning. That's the bomb dropped early.
Yeah, and they've not got the trades that they got last time around. That was the big difference maker. Might go from bad to worse here for Token as well, who's tagged up towards 20 HP. Knows how important retrieving that bomb is. It's basically pivotal for the round, and as he falls, E2N and Stu now need to perform a miracle out of thin air. Ow. That goes down. It's a good start.
In the back, you have a lot of time. Stu has Dead Silence. The biggest issue is that Assassin will probably still be watching this. You can see his arrow on the minimap. He has Stop Barbecue. He can watch top bricks if he wants. One thing that Ottawa do not have going for them is that both players are isolated. They're looking for these isolated engagements. They're trying to take a lot of the map away. And Stu's Dead Silence has just run out. So the speed of this play is becoming a little bit slower, but we're running out of time.
Yeah, E2N's about to get here, so that might be the playmaker here in this situation, but has to make a move before that Dead Silence will pop. And, yeah, just a little bit early, but never mind. Whips Assassin away, and now the bomb should go down over towards B. The coverage should be good here from E2N on the cross. It depends where Lord Memory comes from. Might be able to catch one off guard here towards the backline. Does exactly that, and now E2N needs to find the wildest route. Has done exactly that. Did he just get spotted, though, on the cross? He did do, but trying to get the kills. No, has way too many places to look there, and I think just kind of confusion in the moment. Michigan Esports, they definitely need to fight for it there in those final few rounds, Andy. But they do get it done.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the way you look at it, Ottawa definitely just won 3 rounds in a row to force a round 11, and the way they did it is by forcing the respect out from the Wolverines of Michigan, and just by running at them continuously. Both Ethan and Lightning just following back towards their old aggressive ways, and it obviously worked out a little bit better for Ethan comparatively to Lightning. The only reason why I say that is just because Lightning was the bomb carrier. He was the first one in. You even saw there in that final round. If he's going to be the first one running across that fence line, you have to have an AR either top house or on the side of it as well, just to look top bricks or to look top AC to help keep Lightning push all the way inside the tools. It's the little things, but Ottawa maybe a little bit late to wake up because, Michigan were just running at them earlier on in that search and destroy to be able to find as big as a lead as they did.
Yeah, almost a 2 versus 4 there in round 11 from Ottawa Braves, but just not able to get it done as Michigan do hold out. And the early rounds for the vast majority of that search and destroy, Andy, as we see here over towards the highlights, was pretty much all Michigan. I think we had a couple within the first 5 that were, of course, Ottawa Braves. But beyond that, it was all Michigan all the way throughout. Where Ottawa started to find success was when they started to get aggressive and started to kind of counterplay what Michigan were bringing to the table. When that happened, Ottawa, they managed to find a way in towards the game.
Yeah, it's hard to really judge that you really only have 2 different options as far as your playstyle is concerned when it comes down to dealing with the team that's just running at you. Again, it's either late utility being thrown out, or you just turn your dial up to be as aggressive and win the gunfights. It's a gamble, and it did work out for Ottawa, to be fair. Again, Ethan was very quickly finding these trades off of Lightning's initial pushes along with Stu, but I mean, you just felt like in the 2v2, when you're stuck in the isolated 1v1s across the board in between Token and Ethan, Would have loved to see them maybe double up and try to overwhelm Michigan at a lot of different points in time. Michigan really did not let up on the initial game plan, and that's just play with your numbers continuously. Jump, double chow together, play in a tradable position for one another, and it inevitably worked out there in the end.
Great stuff from Michigan Esports to hold out. Again, we talked about kind of the context of the map overall in the series. It was a big one for Michigan to win because coming into this, of course, this was their advantage, right? This was their bread and butter. The 5-2 overall was the record coming in towards this one. Yes, of course, you said already that they had that loss on this very map mode combination against Northwood University, but that's Northwood, right? You just kind of expected that you lose that one. Still, big map for them to win, and we see kind of the suspects that we saw from map number 1 coming out again to play. Blame at 13-7. This man is looking for a Series MVP nominee, and Assassin also had some pretty good moments there at 10-7.
Yeah, Blame is literally challenging everything. I mean, 20 engagements through El Silo is one thing, but I mean, the way that he was jump challenging everything, even with the pistol, is just tippable beyond belief. I mean, to have the confidence going up against Ottawa, nonetheless, against anybody, really, to have that type of moxie, you got to respect it to a certain degree, and it could be something that you could really rally behind for the rest of your team when someone's just popping off the way that Blame has in maps 1 and 2.
Yeah, big map coming out of Michigan Esports there. As we said, we talk about kind of the overall context of the series. They stole away the hard point earlier on, and well, now they've taken the search and destroy as is expected. Next up in the series then is going to be the control, and the question really becomes for Ottawa Braves. Again, they technically speaking have the advantage in terms of the map mode record overall going into this one. Can they actually take it away as expected this time? Because they've already been upset once, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, from a record standpoint, you feel like if the search and destroy went the way of Michigan because of that regard, then you really do feel like for Ottawa, they should be able to take the control here. It is on El Silo, of course, so I mean, you'll be able to rely on the usual suspects, as you like to call them, Brody, but more or less around your ARs being able to pop off, your SMGs being able to dictate the pace through the middle of the map, and that works both for offensive and defensive, like being able to find those kills, to be able to force out a spawn trap both an offensive and defensive side is really the one benefactor you have to be able to close out rounds on El Silo control.
Right, well, El Silo control will return to El Silo for map number 3 in this series. Can Michigan Esports get the clean sweep, or will Ottawa fight back? Welcome back, one and all, here to the CCL. We're ready to get into a map number 3 between Ottawa Braves and Michigan Esports, the latter of which currently sits 2-0 up in a rather surprising scoreline, Andy, considering, again, we kind of looked at kind of what the map loads records will look like in Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. The series has gone a little bit different to what we expected.
Yeah, it absolutely has been. I mean, the hard point itself, you'll see here, the way that it ended, 250 to 210, by no means of imagination was it close. But you really did feel like that Ottawa were supposed to win it the way that things looked at the end of the first set. But ever since then, it has been all U of M all the time. Even through 11 rounds worth of Search and Destroy, it felt like that they did not really lose pace whatsoever. They've just been running at Ottawa, winning these gunfights, isolating them wonderfully. And that could continue on with their antics, especially ahead of this map mode combination we have for our third in the set.
Yeah, absolutely. And we remind you guys of kind of the context right now, the overall series. These guys, you can already see how just closely they are seeded against one another. The 15th seed going up against the 14th seed overall, at least according to our community top 25. And, you know, these guys, they are basically fighting out for a bye, effectively. They could both still get it, mind you, even if one of them takes a loss here in this one. But, of course, the top 8 from Division 1 gets a bye in the first round of play in the playoffs. So, something to keep note of here as we move forward. That's what these guys are fighting for. Michigan 2-0 up, looking to get the clean sweep with a control victory. Technically speaking, Ottawa, they have a better record in control at 4-2, I believe it is. So if Ottawa are going to start a reverse sweep, it would be here. But Michigan Esports at least opened the door, at least from a kind of clear record standpoint, to taking it at least in.
I mean, you really do feel like that it should be done right here. I mean, even going to map 5 versus SIUE, the Cougars, Ottawa Braves were able to take the LSU control and a 3-0 win over top of them. I mean, that could be something that you could really get behind because that team of SIUE are a bunch of slayers as well. What I'm saying is that their playstyle is very similar to how U of M are playing here today. On the other side, for the Wolverines, they did lose this 0-3 to St. Clair not too long ago. Same against Northwood. They did take a round, so I guess there's some respect to be thrown their way when it comes down to it. But those are two big key losses on a map mode combination that is LSU control. So maybe some potential stats on the side for Ottawa Braves to start the reverse sweep here in map 3.
I mean, look, if you're going to do it anyway, it's going to be here, right? The thing is, I will say for Ottawa Braves is this series, even though they're 2-0 down right now, it's been close, right? I mean, they started the hard point well enough. It was just kind of the middle of the hard point where things started to slip away from them and they were not able to shut down key slayers on the Wolverines roster. And over towards the Search and Destroy as well. I mean, even though they didn't start very well, Andy, the back half of the Search and Destroy, Ottawa seemed to have figured it out just too little, too late, right? Just in key moments where they were not able to clutch up, especially again down to that round 11 where they almost pulled off a 2 versus 4. That would have been beautiful to close out the Search and Destroy in a favorable fashion. But right now, 2-0 down. They need to start getting themselves not just kind of in the conversation, but actually winning. Let's see if they can get it done here in LSE.
And I think just a big key takeaway from what we were talking about there, if you are Ottawa Braves, is just shutting down these key slayers of Michigan, right? Because, I mean, Blame, Memory, these guys have been going crazy. All of the 2 maps that we've played so far, Blame has just been challenging everything. It just mostly comes down to that roaming player for Ottawa. Lightning, E2N. These guys need to be on point to be able to find just as much, if not more, value when it comes down to LSE control. That position right there, top tower, is a big one when it comes down to the A defense or A offense alike. Gotta step it up, gotta have it here if you are Ottawa. Would love to have the series win, but it's gotta be a reverse sweep.
Gotta be a reverse sweep, and it has to start here on LSE control. Let's see if Ottawa Braves can get it done. They're starting things off on the offensive side. How about this for a play? 4 through the middle of the map. I don't think I've ever seen this before. And that will definitely make Michigan feel uncomfortable. Lord Memory's going to have to come all the way back towards the B point to try and help out. Assassin has picked up 2. Will make that a triple. And, well, effectively neuter anything that Ottawa Braves had to say.
Get that first stick over at B. Yeah, he's got it. Thumbtacks will take away token, but a job's a good one. Because you can see what that means for control. This is a big veteran rollout for Ottawa Braves. Just flood over towards B. You won some initial gunfights. They'll spawn parallel over towards the A site now. Michigan now need to find their way in, especially when you got to in that power position. Top tower, Lightning is just snaking around this corner, expecting a chow from top barbecue, but nobody's necessarily holding the double doors on 2 different sides. That's where Michigan are breaking from.
Lightning still trying to hold on here. Lightning for the double. That effectively clears the point entirely. Merc and Lord Memory go down. And you can see the blue arrows on the minimap. Michigan Esports, they've completely resigned themselves to losing this point and are rightfully in this situation, getting themselves set up for the next push over towards B. Lord Memory, first player to do anything about this. Loses the initial one against Token, and now Stu picks up another one as well. Oh, dearie me. Michigan Esports losing multiple crucial gunfights. The path has opened up here for Roto to take B.
Getting some zoning in towards the back. Lightning gets shut down instantaneously. Never allowed the regen to come all the way through. This is your one saving grace. If you are Ottawa or E2N, you can still try to make this push happen. See player number 5, Blame. We just swapped off his POV. He's only got an SMG inside a house, and he's being chased down by Lightning. E2N's going to get shut down on the opposite side. He was the player pushed all the way up. Did buy his teammates enough time to be able to get control of that building. Again, Blame still in this position, top house. Realistically can't do anything. He can lose a gunfight versus an AR. It's just an SMG in this position, Brody.
Assassin doing such a stellar job at the moment of just clearing house. That's another double for him, trying to make it 3 in a row again. No AA through that fence, and Lightning off the back of that will be taking good advantage of it. This point almost done and dusted. Blame will get on towards the point just at the last second, but Ottawa clear house, and that is a beautiful start from them right from the kickoff with that, I mean, excellent go of things through the middle of the map, even though it didn't exactly work out for the capture. It got them that first tick, and then of course the adaptations from there on out. Ottawa setting a great example of how to pull off an offense here on LSE.
Yeah, it got them what they wanted, right? I mean, you full flood over towards B, you dealt with everybody that was in that position. You get the confirmation that they're spawning over by Shack. You make it hard for them to be able to get the B zone back in your favor. Again, when it comes down to the A and the B zone here on LSE control, the B zone is a lot more difficult to take. At least it should be, but Ottawa put themselves in a position to be able to go even for an opening rip, get control over by A, so much time, and continue on getting control of this map.
Michigan need to have as good of a start as Ottawa just did. They aren't coming out of anything as special, we'll say that much. This is pretty standard affair of an offensive push, and this is not standard from Token, who, well, flies out, checks the corner. Unfortunately, it was the wrong one, as Blame was adjacent to him. And will win that gunfight. E2N now trying to play the life up top, but not going to get it done. Stu goes down as well. For Michigan, as we said, I mean, this wasn't exactly that special of a start. Everything looking pretty standard. They predicted exactly where Order have gone on the defense and have fully captured A off the back of that. And now we're also getting a look over towards B with a few stray players.
That's a real early A zone capture. Michigan have only lost a single life in this round. And D2N finds the second. You do at least have full coverage over by the B zone, but Ottawa should be more than aware that they don't necessarily have control of top barbecue. They do have Lightning in that position, top house. Blame, obviously aware of it, needs to get him out from this building. It's a very clutch spot to be able to shut down a lot of offensive pushes, but Lord Memory, again, in the back line, goes unnoticed on the 3 spree, looking to cut more space.
Yeah, Lord Memory is effectively the distraction play, unfortunately failing to jump up top. Sometimes that jump is really hard. And he just jumping over the tree as well. Oh no! Lord Memory, buddy. This
timing?
Yeah, there you go. Finally gets a kill off the back of it. I mean, you know, all's well that ends well, right? Lord Memory gets a kill off the back of that. Now 2 ticks of progression are made over towards B. An Assassin with perfect shots through the fence for 1. The second is good as well. And you know what? I'm so sorry, Lord Memory, for ever doubting you. You did everything. It was all just fate.
I mean, even just finding that 1 kill back garage, right? He's able to push all the way to the backside of Pride Rock, finds the timing onto the player that was tasked to deal with him in that positioning, because so long as he can stay alive over by the cliff, you can find a lot of players off the respawn. Again, once you get coverage over by that B zone, everybody from the defense team spawn on their, essentially behind their shack, all the way in Narnia, just to be able to full sprint back over towards the B site. But you have to deal with that 1 player that can rip you off a spawn before you can get back over there. Wonderfully executed from Michigan off the 2 kills that did come through, so that way they can stack the B zone and at least keep some of the defenders at bay to ever contest once again. So we're evened up for ticks. Offense for offense we've been.
Surely Ottawa aren't going to do it again. Surely they're not going to do it again. I mean, it's a little more disjointed than normal. That Lord Memory just shatters it in half. It's only 2 players now from Ottawa pushed through, but you still have to go on the hunt for them. That's the problem for Michigan Esports at the moment. Lord Memory, though, just does not care. He is hunting players over towards A and takes them down so easily. Lord Memory is the sweeper at the moment, just clearing every single point. Ottawa now trying to rely on the players that they do have pushed through. Lightning from that initial play is still present and trying to take Lord Memory down. Finally does exactly that off the back of 4 in a row for him. And now some progress can be made over towards A.
No trophy systems, though. Stu's here to join Lightning. Merc's not getting chowed through the hillside, so he's going to be able to work the corners. He knows Lightning's in the closed double door corner as well, but Token's laid down a couple shots over towards Merc. He's got away for the regen. It buys Assassin enough time to challenge from the top catwalk area. But it's Blame that makes the play, because of course it is. This guy's been having himself a series up to 10-8 now. On the flank, we'll find 2. That pushes the A push fully to rest as Blame is looking for more. That's info, but Ottawa still stalled the clock as they're getting progress at B.
We just saw a little bit, a flash of hardpoint Blame there for a second, but not quite the same results. Ottawa Braves still remain over towards B, and they might well get the full tick as well. Second tick coming through, third about to follow. I don't think there's any stopping this, given the fact that they've got 3 players on the point now, just 2, but that is enough for Ottawa. They will capture B, and also from their earlier efforts, they've got 2 ticks over towards A as well, so things not looking hot here for Michigan, but look how heavily favored they are over towards this A side. They have Assassin on the point, or maybe not so much anymore. He goes down, and now all the pressure either coming through Checkers in the form of Lord Memory or up top from Merc. Those players need to collapse. Here they go. Lord Memory down, Merc down as well. Off the spawn comes a couple from Michigan. It is not enough. What is going on here in this control, Andy? We've got offense for offense for offense.
Even Michigan committed a cruise missile that they earned back in their offensive round as well to try to get that B site back in their favor, whether that was the intention or not. I mean, you just have to keep somebody in position towards top party for the push through on the backside of A or for the B defense. To lose the B zone after losing 2 ticks of progress over at A is just exactly what Ottawa did when they had that opening, even going back towards their first offensive round. They just are so good at playing the trade game. They never let the numbers really get too out of hand. They're always finding these trades, Brody, and they keep themselves alive and always assaulting the zone, spawning parallel to one or another. So again, Michigan need to answer back with an offensive round here. Their opening rip the last time was flawless, and they got that A zone pretty quickly. Trades are that much better. Team kill doesn't help things out, but at least E2N finds the trade. Just Merc that's pushed up here now for Michigan Esports as he's looking to push A.
Yeah, clearing space here on Michigan over towards A. Won't be long before pressure arrives right back at their feet. And Lord Memory, he was covering the middle of the map. Now no longer the case here as Lightning will be able to take him down. Stu trying to touch the point. Player that was on, Merc, has moved away and now has revealed his position as well. Stu should be ready for this, but he is now all on his lonesome. His players are just dying around him. His teammates have fallen. Michigan now 3 stacking the point. They want to get this one done quick as you like. That won't help Assassin. You can't be taking out your teammates like that. I know you're an assassin, but you can't be assassinating your own friends. Michigan should be able to capture this point. E2N will give it one last late, mind you, push, and actually brings it down to just one player here in the trades, and the A point will not actually go through. Blame thought it was done, so Stu makes him think otherwise.
Even in Blame's previous numbers that he had along with Michigan, spawned a few players over towards the side of Cliff, so Ethan, as well as Lightning, they can defend this B zone. And Merc has a lot to cut all the way through. Michigan are aware of the task. They're trying to get build and control. Lord Memory, dead silence. Token not expecting it. Merc finds the next. Su's still over here by the A zone. He's still defending it. 27 seconds remaining, and Lord Memory does not look up top. This is not looking good for Michigan. They're losing numbers, and they are running out of time.
Yeah, it feels like this one might be the last-ditch effort here for Michigan Esports. Stu doesn't have dead silence, so he might be heard amongst all of the kerfuffle. But I don't know. He's just laying down. I don't think anyone's heard him in this position. There's one for Stu, looking for the double turns and burns. And that's 4 down. Ottawa, they are going to secure this round and secure a map number 3 here in this series. Stu finishes on a hell of a go there towards the end as Ottawa finally find their victory here in this series.
Well, things work out the way the stats are provided for us. Again, the search and destroy, albeit close, goes the way of U of M. They stole their hard point, but Control Ottawa looked just to be the truth. Again, they are just so good at just manipulating the map and really just playing off of what the spawns even give them. Stu lights things up there at the end. Lightning was a consistency throughout the entirety of that map number 3 for Ottawa Braves, and it's just what you love to see. It's almost what they were lacking, I want to say, halfway through that hard point, and well, even through the beginning of that search and destroy, is that they are now taking risks. They are now putting themselves in a position to be able to overwhelm the presence of the Wolverines across the map. But you can see that these players have it in them. They just weren't taking those continuous risks. Now the respect is fully on the table for both these two teams as the Slayers are really showing up for both.
Yeah, this is the key thing for me, right? Ottawa Braves, you know, they had their own Slayers, and they were doing what we said, coming into the map, shutting down the key ones on Michigan Esports as well. We were not seeing those big streaks coming out of the kind of the usual suspects, if you will, in Blame and Lord Memory. Yeah, I mean, off the start, fine. Assassin had that 4-0 spree. Beyond that, there weren't these kind of massive, big, noticeable plays that Ottawa were actually allowing to happen. Instead, they were the ones pulling them off in so many key and crucial situations. Guys, how have we got Lord Memory's kerfuffle in the highlight reel? I feel like this is not really fair, is it? To bring that one back up. But regardless...
They still won the round.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but still, you know, we didn't need to put that. We didn't need to put that. Ottawa looked good, I think, in their offensive efforts, and that really was the difference.
Yeah, I mean, continuously, again, through split spawns, understanding what the game is giving them off of Michigan's previous positioning, the last lost gunfights for Ottawa. It's a key fundamental when it comes down to control, and they manipulate it perfectly, overwhelming by A because they're spawning parallel to it after losing the push over towards B, but still getting a tick in their first offense. Capturing 60 seconds on the board, just making sure that they can find their trades and keep numbers at least marginalized. It always felt like that Ottawa were always in consideration, offensive, defensive like, that when they finally got 4 dead, they were quick to be able to find those 3-for-1s, to be able to maintain map positioning, never really let Michigan get set up on their defense comfortably to stop their everlasting assault, as some of the numbers are quite apparent for those players to show up in a massive way. I mean, Merc had himself a game. That's that player for Michigan that every single time that they were pushing over towards A, he was always top tower, maintaining that position to watch a lot of spawn exits. He is the anchor for Michigan. It's just everybody else couldn't find the key gunfights, the key kills, if you will, Brody, to be able to get themselves further along on the zone. That much is apparent when you take a look at Ottawa or Ethan or Stu, and as well for Lightning in those last 3 rounds. Crucial factors, the reason why Ottawa Braves always had themselves map control.
You know what's wild to me is that I think here in the stats, I'm not entirely sure of the exact numbers here, but I've got a feeling that Michigan actually outslay Ottawa overall. Trying to do that. I'm not going to do the maths overall. I'm not going to sit here and try to do mathematics, but it feels like they certainly did. And that speaks to kind of how efficient Ottawa were actually being with the stat lines, the kills there they were actually making. You know, just being much more effective in terms of their hits. And we definitely saw that in rounds number 1 and 3 on their offensive efforts. So overall, then in the best of 5, it means that Ottawa will survive that LSC low control. They'll see an embassy hardpoint for map number 4, and we'll kind of bring that point around again, Andy. Statistically, at least, Ottawa are the better hardpoint team. Not by much, mind you, but statistically that is the case. And it should be a map they can take. Again, though, I mean, like, just shut down the big names on Michigan. That's where you went wrong, really, in map number 1. Letting Blame, Lord Memory, Assassin, letting those guys go off for the way they did in map number 1. Don't do that again.
I mean, you just really do feel and hope that LSU control is something that Ottawa can sit there and look at, and even if they did fully get slayed out, they can just rally behind and know that they can find themselves in a position to generate a lot of time. Embassy hardpoint is very fundamentally sound. Things always come down to the wire, but the things that you have to be looking out for are your ARs to be able to make those egregious plays and walk away with highway robbery when it comes down to these longer lines of sight. E2N has a big job here when it comes down to Ottawa Braves to maintain positioning advantages, I will say that much. So that way their SMGs, specifically for Lightning, continue to do things that we saw there on the LSU control and just take those risky 1v1s and keep those usual suspects of U of M away.
All right, we'll see. U of M obviously back towards map number 1. Made a hell of a resurgence, but it was Ottawa Braves that started out strong. Perhaps if they can have to start again like that and actually continue it on, they will send us towards a game number 5. Ottawa going to stick things off in the hard point. Got to get players out of that power position. It's top paper. Merc that'll be problematic. Blame though trying to be more of an immediate problem in the middle of the map for 2. Looking for number 3, runs out of bullets and has to hit the reload. Gets caught in a sandwich between 2 players from Ottawa and will not survive that crush. But it's okay because, as I said, Michigan, they've still got the power position. So they still should be able to keep Ottawa out of the hill.
Just always going to expect that out of Blame at this point. Like, he's just going to sit there and just try to dance while he gets the reload, just see if he can get it off before he gets reach out off the previous damage. I mean, it's egregious, but it works out because, again, top paper positioning is what Michigan will maintain off of starting off on the favored side of the map. Ottawa Braves fully understanding that. They are quite happy, keep in mind you, with their 18 seconds that they got earlier on to start assaulting it from the pot side, start overwhelming all these blue arrows for Michigan on the parking lot side of the map. Hasn't worked out quite wonderfully for them yet, but Assassin taking his own life via car might be the opening. No, but it's not quite yet as Token gets taken down from the behind.
Sometimes you just never know when that car bomb is going to go off. Fortunately for Michigan Esports, they've still got numbers in and around the hard point, so they'll just be fine and dandy. Lightning, though, maybe not so much for him. He's down at 24 HP and now needs to do something over towards that Xbox side. Unfortunately, is going to be overwhelmed. Kills to the kill feed, a 4-for-1 trade. As a matter of fact, for Michigan Esports, they're looking pretty hot at the moment. And now Merc, trying to regress through that cafeteria side, is unable to do anything more than just pepper some shots in towards Lightning. And will betray his teammate. So with 25 seconds left here, Assassin has to fight tooth and nail for the scrap time. And Stu finds the positioning on top of the car to take him down. This is not bad for Ottawa Braves to get that scrap time. The problem for them at the moment, Kira, you can already see those blue arrows aggressing towards the next hard point. They really wanted to lean more into that and they weren't able to do so. They now need to fight here with these 1 versus 1s. And for the first ones at least, you can see it in the kill feed off screen. Blame's already picked up 2 and I don't think Lightning's going to be able to do something special.
Yeah, I mean, it's good time to take away and good time to soak if you are Ottawa, but you lost the inevitable that was a 3v2 off of Michigan spawning top pots just to be able to get tennis court positioning and get the setup here for P3. This one's a lot more harder to contest, not with the way that Michigan have control of Orange and the hill itself, Brody.
Yeah, Blame up top's just being a nuisance hit. Logan does not want to peek this in the situation, and that is exactly why Blame now finds himself on 5 in a row. Coverage from afar by Assassin as well. Michigan's coverage of this hardpoint has just been stellar, hasn't it? Every single lane needed watching, it has been watched, and now Assassin is trying to translate that over towards administration control too. And with the kills going in their way, technically speaking, they do have the numbers to make this one work. Blame could do this all by his lonesome though. From wall to wall, corner to corner, Blame gets it done. On 7 in a row now, looking for number 8. He and Assassin will get the team shots on towards another one. But frankly, this is not a rotation you want to lose if you're Ottawa, and I don't know if they have much say in it.
No, they haven't had a say in it. Alpha blames previous spawn because Michigan were still in possession of P3. He spawns behind Ottawa, who were still trying to break the old hill when there was about 30 seconds remaining, and he just turns that into immediate embassy control. Ottawa, though, will not relent through the hallways. They'll overwhelm with numbers. Michigan are still assaulting it, though. Ethan is spawning out. He could work some really unique timing to help his comrades inside the hill.
Yeah, that's a big fight back coming through from Ottawa Braves. Now they want to do more. They actually want to hold. From the back line and from the stairwell comes 3 players from Michigan Esports. Is that too many? Yes, it is. Lightning can only pick up 1 in that ensemble. And Michigan will pick up the vast majority of the rest. 25 seconds, valuable time amongst the very dominant hardpoint for Michigan. And now we focus on the rotation once more. Lord Memory also trying to get himself involved in that conversation. He's the only player over here for the moment. Dead silence activated. They certainly won't hear him coming. Will they see him coming from the other side? The doors will open. He'll take that free kill all day long. One more to the left side. Lord Memory making it look so easy. He might well have been stuck. No, he wasn't. That nade goes over his head. But Lord Memory at the moment and another player besides him in Blame Michigan Esports, I mean, they've just surged through for rotation for the second kill in a row here. There needs to be a fight back from Ottawa, and there it is.
Just continuous aggression coming through for Michigan Esports. These SMGs are getting away with highway robbery. They have so much space to get the work in. I mean, you could just see how tough things are going for Ottawa, especially for their ARs. They're just getting run at continuously. 4-13 for E2N, 3-14 for Token. That is not a good sign for Ottawa to try to keep pace. Now, to be fair, again, they are getting sufficiently outslayed, but they are only 30 seconds within this game. So as long as they're able to find trades and really find a big breakaway hardpoint, Brody, go 40 for 20s instead of allowing Michigan to be able to soak up the majority of the scrap time, then Ottawa can fully bring themselves back in. Even Token slides on in, finds a toothpiece, contests some time. Lightning will strike it again. We'll find 5 seconds. This is why this game has been marginal, I will say, as far as the lead is concerned. But going in towards the second set, things essentially wipe the slate clean. It's essentially how we started off this entire map. Michigan have top paper control.
Yeah, look, the thing I will say is we go back towards that map number 1, and what did Michigan do to Ottawa? Pretty much in the exact same situation, more or less, that Ottawa are in right now, right? They were down, they came and surged back off the back of 3 to 4 kills in a row. So I don't want to count Ottawa out just yet, but they definitely need to get the wheels turning right about now. Stu placing pressure inside Orange, gonna have to go for the reposition up top towards the bridge, and actually not a bad position to take here in this situation. Might be able to catch a couple of players off guard. There's one. Second one will be coming out, but Lord Memory in the kill feed for 3 in a row. Stu actually peppered up there. Will pick up a crucial gunfight over towards the old hardpoint, but even that is not enough to keep these guys away. Lord Memory, who's on 5 in a row, trying to make it 6, will be denied the cruise missile, but at that point, it just kind of feels like extra damage to an already peppered up body, doesn't it? They've already got streaks in the back pocket. Michigan's arsenal is huge.
E2N just never received any sort of assistance across that A lane. He found 2 in towards the back. That could have been influential when this new hill became live. And allow Blame to reposition over towards that A-bomb, cutting down players, cutting through kitchen, cutting down players, and is on the backside of bridge. E2N will finally find that trade, but there's not going to be any assistance, not for the next 15 seconds or so. E2N's looking to cut more space. They need to break this hard point.
Yep, got to break now. It's do or die time, really, for Ottawa Braves. You've been out by just a touch or two this entire game. This is really where the distance starts to become insurmountable. Token trying to find his way through the stairwell, gets bullied. Lord Memory comes out for the slasher horror movie, and Stu will actually get double up here against a couple of players inside. So Ottawa Braves enabled for the past 15 seconds, but I mean, look, how many times have we been in this narrative, Andy, where Ottawa, they get the back 15 seconds, but they've given away the rotation towards Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, that's scrap time that you're happy to give up if you are Michigan, because that's a very successful P2. Their setup was never broken. They were just cutting down Ottawa before they were even in a position to start overwhelm or for the pinch to effectively come all the way through. Even in this moment here, Brody, the pinch is in just off of Michigan, maintaining presence in the hard point, getting those close spawns. Ottawa just, again, trying to break it from the front, just unsuccessful. Players need to start making a play, and his name is E2N. They'll at least deliver 4-3, just one more player in the hill itself. That's Stu to take him down. Merc for the counter flank, though, is at least making things interesting to say the least, but this is good time for the Braves.
I tell you what, E2N might have just solely brought them back into this game potentially, because there's still 40 seconds worth of valuable time to take on this hard point. And as I say it, over towards that hill, Lord Memory of all people at 24-13 has had a great game here. He will double up, and that effectively clears all of that time away. That was important time. It was crucial time for Ottawa to keep themselves in the conversation here. They do have control of the next hard point. That's at least the saving grace for them in this situation, but this needs to be a full 60. Need to start getting themselves zoning around this hard point, push out, start to get kills inside the corridors. Michigan, are they going to allow that to happen? That's the question. Lightning up top again. He's been kind of the saving grace for Ottawa time and time again. We'll pick up the first kill. E2N, though, around the back line does get taken down, and you can see the Sharks are swirling in around this hard point here. Michigan Esports, they're making their gambit.
So one player out towards Pops. That's going to be Blame. Now, you do have E2N. He spawns all the way out, so he should be able to pick up at least that flank. But Michigan Esports, they flip the script. They start to work their way around the back. That's where most of their numbers are coming from, are across the parking lot side and through the hallways. Ottawa just too much to deal with. Michigan, they're in. They can't close it out here on P4, but Ottawa want to fight for this time.
Every single time Ottawa have an in back in towards this game, Michigan just rip it asunder from under them. Ottawa going to get this one last look. E2N, he pulled out a free piece from his rear end. Not able going to get it done this time, and that scrap time will go the way of Michigan. They will be 10 points shy of victory here. Lord Memory just trying to get these kills over towards the parking lot or zone players away. One player sat inside. Lightning, can he produce a miracle? He'll get one. Now needs to strike thrice for 2 more. has the support of E2N from not that far away. Stu actually comes from Laundry. So players on both sides here for Michigan Esports. Merc is now going to be tagged up down at 31 HP. And Token will pick up a double. Lightning to fully clear. The first set of kills is good here for Ottawa Braves. But you are just 8 points shy of a loss.
I mean, he's just got to be perfect. And Token showing up. He's playing here in the table side. Just making sure that no push through Orange or no push through Laundry can come through. Scott Freeze now on a 4 spree. To get these streaks would be monumental. Successful even to maybe try to turn Scrap into initial from P5 to P1, but there's still ample time for Michigan to work a break and to close it out here. But Ottawa, I mean, they're not scared. They are still pushing through and trying to maintain space. Michigan trying to set up a pinch from behind, though.
Yeah, they know it only takes one good hit. They're going for it. 3 players inside at the moment, 1 player outside. So this will be a 3 versus 4. Technically speaking, Stu trying to do what he can, but he gets overwhelmed. Now E2N, can he get the double? No is the answer. Lightning coming to the middle of the map to save it. Yes, he will. So we're going towards a P1. Ottawa Braves now need to try and survive by hanging on by their fingertips. Assassin trying to provide coverage up top, though. Again, it only takes 1 good hold here. This might be it. Still around the back line, trying to rebel, but I don't think there's anything that can be done. Token out towards the middle of the map for one last dive. And it will be a dive for an L as Michigan Esports. I mean, look, a much more respectable scoreline than the KDs would suggest, but they get the job done.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they get the job done in more ways than one. Outslaying your opponents, winning the map, winning the series versus Ottawa. I mean, that is just absurd. Even when we go down towards the first set of hardpoints, just how close things honestly did feel between these two teams and how distant. I mean, we're talking like galaxies apart in between how many more kills Michigan had over Ottawa at the end of the first set of hardpoints, but it was still always like within about 30 seconds or so. So Michigan, they just end up finding themselves that one adaptation, like what we were talking about there, the Fortress Hardpoint map number 1. The Fortress Hardpoint map number 1, it was Slang. They had that in that map number 4. The only difference was finding the kills around the hardpoint. Once they rectified that through the second set, it was non-negotiable. Michigan Esports were the better team on the day.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. Every single word was poetry. Just Ottawa were not in the conversation at all. I think they had like the big play from E2N, which I presume will be on the highlight reel later on down the line. But beyond that, like, every single hardpoint was exactly the same story, repeated. It was like we were just watching an omnibus, but it's the same episode every single time of Michigan Esports. They lose like what? They managed to get the rotation, in control. They control like the first 35, 40 seconds, and then Ottawa come in for the back 20 to 15, of course, counting the competitive time in between those two. I don't think there was ever really a time when that was different. The only time I can think of is like the cafeteria on the second set and maybe even the first. But beyond that, Ottawa were just not there at all, and it's just the difference between maps number 1 and maps number 4 here. Maps number 1, Ottawa, they came out swinging. They actually had something to say. This one, it was just Michigan the entire time.
I mean, it's just the amount of challenges that they're getting away with and always just catching Ottawa off guard. It's just so mind-blowing to me, just how Michigan found themselves in the flow state so earlier on in this series. And that just came through in fruition here in this map number 4. They always had paper control, every single P1, that even when it came down to the closing moments there. That's what you always want your AR Flex to find for themselves, and Michigan Esports are constantly delivering that. Blame goes 27 and 16, 3,100 damage, gets a little bit outshined, however, by Merc, 28 and 15. He is the unsung hero for this team. 1 minute and 13 seconds in the OBJ. He was hitting routes continuously every single time that Merc was spawning out. He always was working these timings to get behind where Ottawa were pushing to be able to set themselves up for the upcoming hardpoint or try to break the current objective. Shout outs to Merc, always making sure that that backline was secure to allow Lord Memory to go 28 and 21, and for Assassin to always get himself set up inside the hill comfortably with just shy under 2 minutes of OBJ time.
Buddy, if we had like, I don't know, trading cards for the Michigan Esports players, all of them would be like 95 at least overall. Just incredible performances coming out from Blame, Lord Memory, and Merc. They're the names to say. Even Assassin, I mean, like, he's not got the snazziest KD at the end of the game, but like, he does his job, right? You know, he's got 1 minute 43 inside the hard point and just doing his job. You know what the funny thing is as well, is like, for Ottawa Braves on the other side, is that Lightning is the player that left the game, but I think in that game he had probably the most respectable KD of the lot. Like, he was really the only one actually keeping up with Michigan Esports. Everybody else just got wiped in that game. An incredible performance from Michigan Esports, and honestly, 2 massive maps to take away from Ottawa Braves. Again, we come back to that conversation point. Hardpoint seemed like it has been something, at least from a record standpoint, that Michigan had been struggling with. Well, I mean, I don't know why. Looking at that, they look pretty good.
I mean, again, just thinking about some of the numbers for Ottawa Braves, I mean, what, like E2N won like 16-29, 15-28 for Token, 13-21 for Stu, and like you were saying, Lightning's was a lot more respectable. They're fighting the engagements. It's just how many gunfights that they were losing from Michigan Esports, and just how well they were playing, the ferocity of this team. Again, living up to their mascot. They are the Wolverines after all, and they absolutely mauled Ottawa as far as the gunfights are concerned. I've got to clean up the control. That's really all I got to say. I mean, don't lose those leads in Search and Destroy, but hey, if you are Michigan and this is going to be your idea that we're just going to be better than some of these teams, especially in this Midwest region, I mean, you're going to have your work cut out for you. I promise you that much, because there's only so many teams that are going to allow that to go down before they finally find an answer of just having better gunnies or just slowing you down with all of their utility.
Promising, I think, is the word I would use for Michigan Esports. For Ottawa Braves, not so much. Again, it's not a good loss for them to take. Like, it doesn't matter too much. You're in Division 1. You're going through to the next stage no matter what. But at the end of the day, you still wanted that bye round. And while it's not fully out of reach just yet, you could still get it. That loss does not help, and you need to kind of fix things up moving forward into the final week of play. And of course, you've still got a match to play tonight as well. So Michigan Esports, they take this one 3-1. We've got a couple more matches still to go tonight. Don't worry about that. More CCL action still to come. But before we do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. As always, both Fandom and America's Navy. And just a quick shout out to the Goats and Glory Esports team, which provides a platform for people to engage with sailors and learn more about the opportunities that the Navy provide, while sharing a mutual passion for gaming. Ultimately, the team shows that sailors are just like everybody else. They have hobbies, interests, and families. Being in the Navy does not exclude you from those things. So again, shout out to our sponsors, America's Navy, and of course, Fandom, for helping us out here at the CCL. So that's our first match. They will take it. Next up on the docket, though, well, I mean, Michigan, they're back again. If you want to see more of Michigan, don't worry, because they're now going to take up another Titanic team in the Midwest region. It's the SIUE roster, which I'm sure I'll absolutely say and fuffle over a dozen times before the end of the series. We'll be back with that after a very brief break.